You blink, I'll cut your eyelids off. Don't you blink. Let's go.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition here of Show Blitz here, the Mass Steel podcast. Getting ready to count down for Monday Night Football, as it will be the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Chicago Bears coming up tonight here on ESPN. And you can also watch it on ESPN Plus. There will be no Peyton Manning and Eli Manning broadcast tonight, as announced as of last week's game. At the end of that game between the Chiefs and Giants in Arrowhead Stadium, Peyton Manning announced that they'll be having a bye week, so we won't get to hear any Peyton or Eli on tonight's game on ESPN2 or the ESPN Plus streaming app. But I guess in a good way for Steeler fans, maybe that's a good way right there. Just certain football guys you don't want to mess with, no pun intended, especially the Manning brothers who've done a lot for this league. But get ready to go into tonight's game. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be looking to end a frustrating 3-game losing streak versus the Bears right now. The Bears, they lead this all-time series, 19 wins with 7 losses, all 3 dating back to 2009 when the Steelers were defending Super Bowl champions. In that year, they lost at least like 2 of those 3 games by 1-score games, the first one being a field goal loss in Soldier Field. That was 14-17. Then the last primetime game here in Heinz Field between these two teams, which was on Sunday Night Football, that happened back in 2013. Bears won that one convincingly, 40-23 right there. That was Jay Cutler's second start for the Bears. He was 2-0 in his career versus the Bears. And then last but not least, they lost to Mike Glennon before they got handed over to Mitch Trubisky. But Mike Glennon of the Chicago Bears under John Fox upset the Bears once again the same day as the national anthem pregame drama that followed this team. They lost that one in overtime, 17-23. And the Steelers are looking to snap a jinx going on. As you can see what I'm wearing tonight, I got my hopefully good luck charm for tonight's game. Hopefully it'll be an omen and they can finally put this one behind, not just for beating the Bears, but more importantly, stay in control of their destination of the AFC standings right now. They are the 6th seed going into tonight's game. I got my Jerome Bettis jersey on. One of the last men to beat the Bears in that game, as I mentioned. That game happened on December 11th of that year. Steelers won that game 21-9, allowing no touchdowns in that game right there. As also referred to too as the mother game by Jerome Bettis, you could say, going into that season right now. But going into it, I mean, when you look back at that time right there, that against the Bears right there, that started their run in that season right there. Remember, they were 7-5 at that point in time. Their playoff hopes were looking pretty dim, getting very close, where they needed to couldn't afford any more losses along the way the rest of the season. And you saw what happened. Everyone started to heat up down the stretch right there, and you saw the end result right there. 4-game winning streak in the regular season, then won all 4 games in the playoffs, becoming the first number 6 seed to win the Super Bowl as a wild card right there. Unbelievable stuff right there. But if you remember in that game too, you saw Jerome Bettis, his stat line for that game was, we get ready to pull it up. In that matchup in Heinz Field, which was a snowy game, by the way, he actually ran for 101 yards off 17 carries, got in for 2 touchdowns. One of the most famous images in that game was trucking Brian Urlacher in the end zone. That game was played at 32-degree weather, winds at 12 miles per hour, and a wind chill of 23 degrees with some heavy snow flurries in that game right there. And the Steelers were able, like I said, keep their season on track. And there you saw the march for the one for the fun, which was Bill Cowher's final game playing against the Bears as Steelers head coach, by the way. And going up against the Chicago Bears right there, he's the last Steelers coach to have a winning record up against the Chicago Bears right there in that matchup. which is pretty darn special. And you look at it, and I think he's only had like one loss versus the Bears in all those contests. But nonetheless, here we are right now. It is Color Rush time once again. I want to pay a special shout out to some friends of mine. Happy belated birthday once again, Rob Morey, one of the biggest loyal Steelers fans here, and also one of my Steelers bars I go to from time to time at McGee's, and hopefully once again soon, Durgan's Tavern, which right now, if you're in Chicago, is closed right now for this season. But if you guys want to check out a good Steelers bar in Chicago for right now, check out McGee's Tavern in Lincoln Park and Regalville in Chicago, Illinois. Well, anyway, let's go into some of the opening headlines going into this game right now. As far as like the injury report for tonight's Monday Night Football matchup versus the Bears. The Steelers have listed guard BJ Finney as questionable with a back, while tight end Eric Ebron, he is out with an ankle. And then you will be having for the Bears, they will be without the following. One of their backup quarterbacks, and Nick Foles, non-injury related. Tight end J.P. Holt, he is in concussion protocol. Unfortunately, we will not get to see edge rusher in tonight's matchup. Listed as outside linebacker Khalil Mack. He will miss his second consecutive game with a foot injury. He was not there for the game versus 49ers on Halloween last Sunday. And last but not least, running back Damian Williams, he is out with a knee injury. But speaking of which, one of the local Bears reporters for ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000, if you want to listen to him on radio in your car here in Chicago, Illinois, or you can listen to him for the TuneIn app, which is another way you can catch them. Their beat reporter, Jeff Dickerson, has reported that they have activated running back David Montgomery off IR for tonight's game. Montgomery, 24, he has been out since he suffered a sprained knee in a Week 4 victory over the Lions in that contest right there. And to date, I mean, ever since then, that was a matchup right there where they had a nice 2-game winning streak. And that one, the Bears have been pretty frustrated in their own right heading into this game right now. I mean, when you look at their season right now, I mean, moving up to the 10th spot to draft Justin Fields right now. I mean, Justin Fields, who officially made his very first start as a rookie, I want to say this year that was against, let's see, the Cleveland Browns, and where they got squashed 6-26, 1 net yard passing. The Bears are looking to end a 3-game losing streak, beginning back to the Green Bay Packers and Soldier Field right there. By the way, they lost that game by 10 points, 14-24. Got blown out by the Bucs in Tampa, 38-3, and then last but not least, 33-22 versus the 49ers. In that game right there, you saw versus the Niners. I mean, legitimately, in that game, the Bears in that game, they blew, let's see, what was it? It was like they had a nice commanding lead so far in that game. I want to say they were up like 10-3, something like that, but it was still a game that was winnable for them. They ended up losing that game right there. I mean, only scoring 6 points in the second half, being outscored by the Niners 24-6 to win that game in upset fashion right there. 49ers kept their season alive right there as they went on to go to 3-4. Right now, the 49ers, speaking of which, they're 3-5 after losing to the Cardinals. But nonetheless, I will say this. This is a matchup where the Steelers have got to be careful with a team like the Chicago Bears right now, because I really do believe when I look back at some of these losses right now, I mean, let's think about it. I mean, they're looking to probably take it out on the Bears tonight and try and snap some frustration going on here. And for them, it's going to be definitely having its challenges here going into this matchup. I definitely do believe right now. You gotta believe right now. I mean, Matt Nagy, who's also, by the way, he's returning from missing last week's game due to COVID. He will be back on the sidelines in tonight's matchup right now. And you have for the Chicago Bears too. I mean, going into into this game, they had John DeFilippo. He was the interim coach last week for the Chicago Bears, in which they lost to the 49ers. So you gotta believe right now they're trying to prove something to themselves too. I mean, the Bears right now, I mean, you're talking about like beyond this season, possibly maybe rebuilding possibly with their salary cap situation right now. The Chicago Bears, I mean, looking forward into their future. I mean, what they got to look forward to. I mean, if you think about it right now, I mean, in this league, I mean, the Bears right now, they only got barely $3 million in cap space. And then in 2022, from there, they'll be having a little bit more better money situation, about over $44 million of cap space. But you gotta wonder how much significant changes are going to be, and more in particular, aside of that, which doesn't count towards salary cap, are coaches. Well, in particular, Matt Nagy. The frustrating thing is with the Bears. I mean, when you look at their season, the way things have been going, I mean, you would figure. I mean, in this season, what they had to deal with. I mean, like their share of humiliation right now. I mean, losing to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers right there, the famous "I own you, I still own you" guys right there quote in that game. I mean, the Bears, I mean, for this part, they have beaten no playoff teams going into this year. And I want to say they only beaten one winning team, and that was the Detroit Lions uh, in this season. That was back in week number 5 right there. The Raiders were 3-1, that which proved to be John Gruden's final game as a Raiders head coach. Since that controversy right there that came out about DeMaurice Smith, but all the racial stuff he was saying too throughout this time. And right now, it's definitely going to be an interesting time for this game right here as we look at it. And like I said, definitely got a lot staring them right now in this. Be a challenge right now. But the good news is, as far as the color rush uniforms, looking pretty solid right now. And let's see some other stuff here on the opening drive right now. According to Dale Lally of DK Pittsburgh Sports, the Steelers, they have elevated tight end Kevin Rader from the practice squad to the active roster for tonight's game. He will revert back to the practice squad according to the team report, missing Matthews for this game right here. And so there you have it for tonight's game right now. Trying to find out the Steelers versus Bears and actives. I'm going to try and find it out right now as we speak, going into this matchup right now. Let's see who we got here. Okay, as far as like the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they got 6 players inactive tonight versus the Bears. It'll be right tackle Zach Banner, who doesn't seem like he's still ready to come back off his injured leg injury they suffered last year in his first game versus the Giants. You also got backup quarterbacks Dwayne Haskins, running back Anthony McFarland, cornerback Akilo Witherspoon, linebacker Buddy Johnson, and tight end Eric Ebron. They will not play in week 9 right now. You probably see a little bit more of Zach Gentry and Pat Freiermuth right now, who seems to be making a good tandem at tight end right now as they continue to keep their season nice and fresh right now. So just give everybody a heads up in case you guys are tuning in. I'm going to cut this podcast a little bit short because I'm getting ready to take off and go out and watch the game. But I just wanted to get this out. So I'm going to end this up in like less than 5 minutes, okay? I know usually it's like 30 minutes, but I'm going to just cut a little bit short. So my apologies for anyone tuning in right now. Banner, like I said, he continues to be inactive since returning from injury reserve. And we'll see. But also looking at it too, as for the Chicago Bears right now, going into it, as we look at their players who they got listed, they got, let's see, and this was going into the injury report. First, the Steelers in tonight's game for this contest here. Give me just a minute. Okay, so they will definitely be without for this game right now. For tonight's matchup, they'll be without defense back Eddie Jackson. He will not be available in tonight's game. I believe he is one of their safeties going into it. Let's see here. The Chicago Bears going tonight's matchup right now, like I said. So let's look at it. Yeah, so they'll definitely be without their starting safety, Eddie Jackson. One of their starting running backs who was filling in for Montgomery, Damian Williams right there. Damian Williams, he was dealing with a knee injury. We already know about Khalil Mack dealing with a foot injury, so that's a third guy right there. You also got Nick Foles, non-injury related. Former Steelers cornerback, Artie Burns, he is out tonight. Then you also got, right now, too, for this game, Alec Ogletree. He is one of their linebackers. He will not be playing tonight's game. And last but not least, tight end J.P. Holtz, as I mentioned, he is dealing with concussion. So let's go ahead and give you real quickly to the AFC playoff picture, more particularly as it begins with the AFC wild card. And right now, the Steelers, they find themselves in the 6th seed in the AFC wildcard picture right now. And the way that works right now, Steelers versus the Patriots. As of right now, the Steelers have at least 3 of the tiebreakers over the Patriots right now. That is in common games where they're 2-0. Each of these teams are facing the Chargers, the Browns, Titans, and the Bills. The Steelers have defeated both the Bills and the Browns, while the Patriots, on the other hand, have defeated one of those teams, which was the LA Chargers. I believe they'll be having the Cleveland Browns coming up this weekend in Gillette Stadium. Yeah, so that'd be Sunday at noon on November 14th. A key matchup right there, if you ask me, for that game right there. One of Bill Belichick's original team right there. Steelers also own the strength victory, 528, while the Patriots are 336. Followed by them are the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Don't look now as we take a look at the standings right now. Chiefs looking to hopefully get a little bit on the roll right now with their season turned around. They are 5-4. Look out for them. They just defeated both the Giants and the Packers right now. Offensively, did not look as impressive. I mean, you look at their season right now. I mean, when you look at, they're being outscored by 6 points in the season, which is pretty unbelievable right there. They only got 221 points for the season while giving up 227. Their defense has definitely been horrendous. And a lot of people were definitely looking at a guy like Melvin Ingram right there, who has been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 6th-round 2022 pick. Now, a lot of people are very cautious about, how's that going to affect the Steelers when these two teams got faced in week number 16 in Kansas City right there. Will that be a team right there that could harm them eventually some point in time? I know a lot of people are a little concerned about a James Harrison situation that happened back 4 years ago, where he did everything he could do, complain, fuss. And he told the Steelers straight out respect Mike Tomlin and everybody, and was just saying, listen, I know what you're doing here. You got TJ Watt. I know how business football works. If you're not going to play or start me, I would like to be released. Mike Tomlin was not in favor of that at the time. He decided to keep James Harrison around. And so therefore, you look at a guy like James Harrison work out his ethic at the time. He was not acceptable with that. So when did that happen? He ended up getting released, signed with the Patriots. made one more Super Bowl run where they eventually lost to the Philadelphia Eagles at US Bank Stadium for Super Bowl 52 in that matchup right there. So let's see. I mean, Melvin Ingram, some people will say he's been declining according to Bouchette right now. I mean, the Steelers coaches seem to really like Alex Highsmith being paired with Bud Dupree. The way he's been listening, it seems like he's starting to get into a groove right now. Only time will tell for that. But following the Patriots, too, in the AFC wildcard pictures, we also look at it. Like I said, the Steelers versus the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs, who find themselves right now on the outside, looking in behind the Patriots. The Steelers over the Chiefs right now, they have at least gotten 4 of the tiebreakers right now before they meet head to head. They got a better conference record than the Chiefs. Steelers are 3-2. Chiefs are 1-4. Common games, Steelers are 3-3. Chiefs are 2-4. You also got strength of victory. Once again, Steelers got 528 win percent, while the Chiefs are at 450. Then you got next up, followed by the Chiefs, are the Chargers right now. Or not the Chargers, would be let's see, if we take a look at the standings right now, it'll be the Browns. And right now, the Steelers have beaten them 1/2 of their head-to-head matchups right now. Steelers, as far as versus Browns go, they're even at conference record. The only thing significant that the Steelers got versus the Browns, aside from their head-to-head win, is 2 of the other tiebreakers: strength of victory and strength of schedule, 528, 574 for those 2 categories. Then you also got followed by the Browns are the Bengals, who the Browns beat, and this has been like a lot interesting for debate right now. Is Baker Mayfield starting to have once again his better football and performance with cutting their ties with Odell Beckham Jr.? Just seems like he's been playing better football. They got in a better role. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the Cleveland Browns, I mean, at the end of the day, definitely no joke. I mean, when you look at them at 5-4, also the same team who upset the Steelers. I mean, in the playoffs, I mean, for the most part, I mean, they ended up finishing their season last year, 11-5 record, which saw Kevin Stefanski go on to win Coach of the Year in that matchup. So when you look at it right now from that perspective, they got a lot to straighten up right there. So we'll see from there. Also followed by the Browns. I mean, followed by the Bengals right now. Like I said, Steelers lost their 1/2 of their head-to-head matchup. They only got them in 3 categories, which is right now, or 2 categories, excuse me, which is strength of victory and strength of schedule. Broncos, they already beat head-to-head. And last but not least, the Colts, who are still hanging around right now at 4-5 right now. Steelers own all the necessary tiebreakers over them. So we'll find out right there. And as for the AFC North, once again, I mean, the Vikings, who had 2 touchdown lead versus the Ravens in Baltimore, you figure they're going to finally be able to stop them. Went in overtime. Anthony Barr had pick and where the Ravens were driving, failed their opportunity to score for their sudden death opportunity, end up losing that game by a field goal in overtime right there. So the Steelers, for right now, in the divisional standings, I mean, they find themselves a game and a half right now. If they win this game, they can pull within 1 game, or if not, they will find themselves at the bottom of the division once again. So also, let's get into it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and just finish this real quick. Color rush uniforms. Right now, for tonight's matchup versus the Bears right now, you look at Steelers are 6-1 since wearing these uniforms, while Ben Roethlisberger is 5-0. Ben Roethlisberger, who's worn the color rush uniforms, he's threw for over 1,497 yards, nearly 1,500 yards of passing, 15 touchdowns, the 5 picks for 108.2 QB rating right there. Pretty darn impressive stuff right there. Their only loss when wearing these color rush uniforms were versus the Buffalo Bills, and that was without a Ben Roethlisberger-less season there, and where he was injured in Week 2 versus Seattle Seahawks in their home opener. Steelers were in control going into that Bills game right there. It was a key matchup for wild card positioning, and instead the Steelers ended up going on a 3-game losing streak, going out of the playoffs right there, spiraled out of control. They were 8-5 with quarterback Duck Hodges right there in that game. So let's see what can happen. I think that'd be very key right there. I mean, they've been wearing these things since Christmas, and like I said, for the Steelers right there, that is definitely a huge thing right there. It's been their good luck charm when wearing these uniforms. I mean, at the moment, I mean, in the color rush uniforms, they have outscored their opponents 196 to 120, 76-point differential. Show you how good they are. Now let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Keys to the game. Key number 1 for tonight's matchup, it'll be run defense. Why? Steelers are 5th in stopping the run with allowing 4.2 yards per attempt. Dave Montgomery and Khalil Herbert will be keys if they're able to combine for tonight's matchup, since it will be without Damien Williams. They combined for 659 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns, 3 of which has been coming by Montgomery. Justin Fields will also be a wild card in that running game as well, too. Would be a nice third wheel to that. Since we're in the age of mobile quarterbacks right there, he has ran for 243 yards in 8 games, averaging 5.5 yards per attempt. So which is going to lead me into key number 2. Keep Justin Fields in the pocket and blitz. Bears have surrendered the most sacks in the league with 30. That is a big reason why. Last but not least, win the turnover battle. Steelers are -1 for the year, while the Bears are -3 in this game. And for anyone want to check out the odds in this game right now, as well, we look at for tonight's matchup. For tonight's matchup, it is looking like it's going to be 27 to 16 according to OddsShark right now. Steelers are -7 point favorites, as it looks like for right now, going to this matchup. The 27 to 16 they're looking at. I'm gonna go for the final score for tonight's matchup. I mean, when you look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to do this year, to surprisingly keep their season alive and not letting it spiral out of control. So you look at everything that has been going on, I mean, with this team right now. I mean, the Steelers, for the most part, when you look at their offense and what they've been able to do, I mean, this season right now, they've only scored at least 20 points or more. I mean, offensively, only 2 times right there. So, with that being said, I will go Steelers. I'm gonna give them 23 points once again, and give me Bears 16. So 23-16. That'll be your final score, and that's gonna do it for this edition here of Showblitz Steelers versus Bears pregame show. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media on Twitter at MassSteelCJR and on Instagram at MassSteelNation. So I leave you to trolling, rolling. Here we go, sirs. Here we go. I got it.